Mike Ybarra, as we know, previously at Blizzard, previously at Xbox twice, if you consider it after he joined them after the ABK acquisition. Very, very outspoken about video games, Xbox, his opinion on the gaming industry. And he has some interesting stuff to say regarding the news that Phil Spencer has been putting out there in his recent interviews about putting games everywhere, collecting 70% off of PlayStation players now. That helps the Xbox brand. And there's also some other news here about the future of the Xbox showcases and the logos that will be showing up when they do announce games. So we will talk about that stuff in this video. Before we continue, if you do enjoy gaming news content, discussions, all of that stuff on a daily basis, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as I do put out pretty much daily content, and I see many of you who are watching are not subscribed, so I would really appreciate you just hitting the button and help this channel grow. So let's jump over here. Let's talk Mike Ybarra, because again, he's very, very outspoken. He's had many things to say about strategies, about the future of gaming, where he thinks it should go. And we have this post here. Again, this relates to what we've been talking about over the last little while. I mean, we still talk about this even though Phil Spencer has said this stuff many, many times. But Phil Spencer, in an interview with Xbox Era the other day, said, not trying to move PlayStation and Nintendo players over to Xbox anymore. Then says, let's just allow more people to play. And yes, the 70% that we make on games on other platforms is helpful to us. And he's just out here basically saying, yes, we make money off of Nintendo. We make money off of PlayStation. That is very helpful to help grow our business. We know as Xbox, if I'm speaking in the mind of Phil Spencer, if I'm pretending like I'm him, he's probably thinking, we know here at Xbox that our consoles will never be able to compete with PlayStation or Nintendo. It's just impossible. And now that they've seen the Xbox Series X and S generation here, where I personally believe that the Xbox Series X is the best console out there, features, the user experience, things like quick resume that are just not available on the PlayStation 5. And those things had really no effect on actually people going out there and buying an Xbox Series X over the PS5. The PS5 is absolutely destroying the Xbox in terms of console sales, and it will continue throughout the rest of this generation. You're going to see the PS5 reach basically the PlayStation 4 numbers in sales over 100 million, which is a very, very strong 2 generations in a row. One of the other major things that plays into this is just Xbox doesn't have nearly as big of a global presence as Nintendo and PlayStation, so it's impossible for them to compete in those regions. Even if we look back to the Xbox 360, when you could say they had a strong console generation in Japan, they still only sold like 1.3 or something million consoles. They still could not compete on any level comparatively to PlayStation or to Nintendo, and they had a lot of exclusives, Japanese exclusives on the Xbox 360. So I think they have the data and statistics to show here that the only way to reach people across the globe is to put their games where they're playing, PC, PlayStation, and Nintendo, and make the money off of those players to reinvest it in the Xbox business to give the consumers more games and obviously try to make back that money on the Activision Blizzard acquisition, which clearly had a huge effect on the overall strategy of Xbox for the future. You have to ask, if they didn't acquire ABK, would they still be doing what they're doing right now? And a lot of people think they wouldn't be. I think ABK was a big catalyst to move forward as that major publisher in gaming. So Phil Spencer talks about the 30% and the 70% that they make off of the other platforms, how it does help Xbox. Mike Ybarra responds here, and it's an interesting one. He says this, and I agree with him somewhat here, at least in the beginning, where he says, how is this still news? Because really, Phil Spencer has been saying a lot of this over and over and over again. He says, they've been consistent. They are a publisher now and support all platforms. It's the right strategy for them and their business. Sure, it took a while for them to get clear on this, balancing selling hardware, managing customers with the reality of the strategy. I love that their games are on PC and PS5. I get loyal Xbox gamers are mad, but that isn't going to change anything. Embrace and move on. Play on what you enjoy playing on. If you're a console-only person, that probably means PlayStation or Nintendo in the future, but you'll still have Xbox games there. PlayStation and Nintendo should work with Xbox on some type of friends transfer system, etc. Eventually, that should be done to help people stay connected with their friends. We'll never see a universal gaming social platform, but I do wish we could. So a couple of things here. I do agree with the universal social gaming platform. I don't think we will ever see that. I mean, it kind of is right now in Discord, if you think about it, because you can get Discord pretty much anywhere, I think, except for Nintendo. So Discord may turn into that if there is Discord access on the Nintendo Switch too. But for the proprietary friends list stuff that you have on each console, clearly there's not going to be one where you're on your Xbox and you can see your PlayStation friends in like the Xbox UI. At least right now, that doesn't seem like that is going to be happening. And that's obviously not going to be coming to Nintendo either. So I do agree with that, but I do wish it could happen. The thing I don't agree with, because we already know based off of what they said, unless again they are lying or changing their strategy on the go on a very fluid basis here. So by the time this generation ends, they completely change their mind, is that he is insinuating here that there will be no more Xbox consoles. It will only be PlayStation or Nintendo consoles in the future. And I think this is really missing the boat a lot on what's happening, kind of the stuff that we've been hearing about, rumors that we've been hearing about, things that the gaming industry has already done, and that is expanding out with more hardware. It does look like the Xbox hardware could eventually go away. I think maybe at the earliest would be after the next generation. So we're going to get at least 10 plus more years of an Xbox console. But after that, who knows what's going to be happening, not just on the Xbox side of things, but also on the PlayStation side of things. We're going to be in a completely different era of consoles. But right now, the kind of the opposite thing is happening, has been shown to us and has been insinuated that is going to be the future, is that there may be more hardware and not less hardware. There's going to be handhelds from Xbox, handhelds potentially here from PlayStation. Steam may be jumping into the hardware market and make their own console. So that could be another huge console competitor. Even somebody like myself, who Xbox is my main place to play, but I do love Steam as well. I would pick up a Steam console for my home TV, unless, of course, Xbox does, I think, the game-changing thing here and allows you to access Steam on the next Xbox console. Then to me, it would be no point in picking up a Steam machine. But they look like they're probably getting into some sort of console experience here, and they've already done that with the handheld, the Steam Deck. Technically, it does have that console experience with Steam OS, and you're seeing other companies get in here with creating handhelds, with potentially in the future being able to license OS, make a console out of that. We already know Steam is doing it. SteamOS has already licensed it out to Lenovo with the Lenovo Legion Go S. Could they eventually license SteamOS out to other boxes, little PC boxes that you connect as a console to your TV and you get the console experience? And could Xbox do that on top of making their own console in the next generation? So to think that the only console experience going forward is going to be PlayStation and Nintendo, I think is completely off base, at least in my opinion. I mean, obviously he's an executive. He's had many years in the gaming industry, so maybe he knows more than me, but everything that I've been reading and seeing, it does seem like consoles are expanding and we're going to actually have more selection for hardware in the future than less, which to me is great. Competition, it means that these companies are going to have to pick up their game. And again, if Steam makes a console, how many exclusives does Steam have? They don't have any exclusives. They would be selling it on the features of that console to PC gamers specifically, and even people on console who have PC as well, but want to have the experience of sitting back on their couch and playing their PC games. And we've heard Xbox talk about selling the next Xbox on the features themselves, like quick resume, like backwards compatibility, all that stuff that makes the Xbox console great. And to me, that's an exciting feature when you're now going to see companies compete on the features in the box that you get as a user experience to make your experience better as a gamer, rather than gatekeeping content away from other people. Now, he does continue here. He does go on. There's a lot of responses. This person responds, it says, Xbox is still in the console business and the ecosystem will still exist even if they exited. People don't need a friend transfer. The list you say won't ever exist is most probably Discord, which I would agree with eventually. I think if Nintendo gets Discord on their platform, it's going to be the universal place where people do connect. And he says, that's present right now. Weird angle suggesting Xbox as a platform is going away. Mike responds, says, you are living in the past. The platform is the social layer and integration. No way they would keep all the costs to maintain Xbox Live. Heck, they don't even call it Xbox Live now. They even have their own accounts, etc. in various games. Writing is on the wall. So Xbox Live, maybe that's something that could go away, but I don't see how that would take out the console experience. It would be even better if Xbox stopped making customers pay to play online and just release an Xbox console where online is free, just like PC. To me, that is, again, a great future, but I don't think that would just make the console go away, because they do subsidize these consoles in so many different ways now, and one of those new ways is putting games onto the competing platforms. Now, the response here from Champagne Supernova: so just so we are clear, you're suggesting the Xbox ecosystem being the apps plus Game Pass, cloud, friends list, Play Anywhere will all cease. Mike responds and says, if I was in their shoes, it's Game Pass everywhere and great games with accountability. Reduce costs everywhere else, invest in games. Adopt the specific social platform of these systems, Steam, PlayStation, Nintendo. If you don't, you'll just upset the larger community. Short term, it's hard, I get it, but living halfway in the approach for a long time is worse. A path to success is here. Response is, Game Pass everywhere would be ideal. Game Pass is not just about the games, it's the services that come along with it, which is absolutely true. This Champagne Supernova, I think, is way more spot on, because you have Game Pass. If you're somebody who consumes it on a monthly basis and you like it, you're getting cloud with that. You're getting perks for games with that as well. You're getting discounts if you want to purchase games, early access for premium editions at a cheaper price. Like, there are so many things that come along with Game Pass, EA access, like there's tons of that. It's not just the games within the Game Pass service. He goes on here and says, being able to pick up a VOD on my Logitech G Cloud after playing on my Series S and X or PC is part of that experience. Sony plus Nintendo won't ever allow Game Pass as much as Microsoft would love it. Mike responds, a deal can always be made. So I think Mike doesn't really have any great points here, other than he's basically saying, cut everything from Xbox. Just cut them and just have Game Pass. Like, become as minimal as possible, cut as many costs as possible, just have Game Pass. And to me, it's kind of counterintuitive to everything that they have been preaching. I think the biggest selling point for Xbox going forward is going to be Play Anywhere. Game Pass being a feature in that, where games in Game Pass will have that already, where you can play them on PC and play them on your console, and depending on how many consoles have Xbox integrated into them, on any consoles out there. But on top of that, I think a lot of this going forward is going to be Xbox selling third-party developers on Xbox Play Anywhere and getting them to buy in to that program, putting their games into the Xbox store, even if they're looking at the console numbers. And let's say the console numbers for Xbox continue to dwindle, it gets to a point where you're going to have some developers looking at that and saying, hey, we don't want to invest money in making an Xbox console port because there's not enough players. Xbox is planning for this. Then they're looking at it and saying, well, if we have the Xbox store, it's a unified store where if you put it into that store, it's available for the 30, 40, 50 million Xbox console users, as well as everybody on PC via the Xbox store. And there's that cross-play, cross-progression, cross-save stuff for those games. It takes away that argument that there's no point in developing a game for Xbox, because now Xbox is millions and millions of more people when you're including the PC ecosystem, you're including cloud gaming, handhelds, and everything along those lines that have access to the Xbox ecosystem. So it is Xbox that is going to be the selling point for third parties, but there will still be the Xbox console hardware for people who want to access it that way. I don't see it going away, at least for another generation. I think next gen we're still going to have PS6, Xbox, obviously the Nintendo Switch too, and all of that is going to be supported because of the way that Xbox has transformed their business, knowing that, yeah, we don't reach people globally comparatively to PlayStation or Nintendo, but we have this system here where you put it into the Xbox store, you're getting access to the 50, 40, whatever number you want to put for the consoles for Xbox. You're getting access to all those users, plus you're getting access to everybody else in that Xbox stream. They just get to choose where they want to play it. So only focusing on Game Pass as the only thing that Xbox should do, and eliminating all of the other great features they have and consumer friendly stuff that they have done, to me, I don't agree with that take whatsoever. And I don't see that is the way that Xbox is going. I think they're actually going in the opposite direction. And I do think next gen, we're going to have more hardware than we had this generation, which would be kind of mind boggling for a lot of people to think about, when we've seen Xbox is dead almost on a monthly basis now in terms of their hardware. But on the video there, if you did enjoy this video, Let me know in the comments below, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And let me know your comments and your thoughts on what I think. If you think I'm wrong, do you think I'm right? I would love to see those discussions. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.
We'll be right back.